God's chosen ones. This Sunday, expect a sign just for you. What if I told you that God has been waiting 73 years for this exact moment? What if this Sunday isn't just another day on your calendar, but a divine appointment written in heaven's ledger before you took your first breath? What if you didn't accidentally stumble upon this video, but it was delivered like a sacred telegram on the precise Sunday your soul needed it most? Chosen one, stop scrolling right now. In this very second, heaven has pressed pause on everything around you, the noise, the worry, the endless cycle of days that feel the same. It all stops here, because this Sunday, something breaks open, not in thunder, not in earthquake, but in a whisper so personal, so unmistakably meant for you, that your spirit will tremble with recognition. You feel it already, don't you? That stirring, that holy restlessness, that sense that something sacred is approaching, like dawn breaking over a sleeping city. This isn't coincidence. This is choreography, divine choreography. For 70, 80, maybe 90 years, you've been walking this earth, through Depression-era struggles, through wars, through losses that nearly broke you, through quiet victories no one celebrated. But God has been orchestrating something. Every closed door, every delayed answer, every season of silence. It was all preparation for this moment. This Sunday is not a day. It's a sacred appointment, an appointment you cannot reschedule, cannot postpone, cannot miss, because what's about to unfold, it's been written in eternity with your name, in heaven's eternal ink. You didn't find this video by accident. It found you on the Sunday you needed it most. And what's about to happen? It's no accident. The sign coming for you, it won't look like anything you've imagined. It might arrive in the gentlest whisper, in a moment so ordinary that only your trained heart, your weathered spirit, will recognize its sacred weight. But here's what I need you to understand. This window, this divine window, it's narrow, it's precise, it's timed to the second of your spiritual readiness. Miss it, and you might wait another lifetime, but catch it, receive it, align with it, and everything changes, not just your circumstances, your very essence. If you feel this message penetrating your soul, like a key turning in a lock you forgot existed, if something deep within you is saying, yes, this is for me, then write these 2 words in the comments: I'm listening. Don't think about it. Don't hesitate. Let your spirit respond before your mind can interfere. Because this Sunday, the sign isn't just coming to you. You, chosen one, you are becoming the sign. The countdown has already begun. Can you feel it right now? That subtle shift in the atmosphere around you, like the air itself is holding its breath. Have you been waking up at 3 a.m. for no reason, with your heart racing, not from fear, but from something you can't quite name? Why do you think, in the past 70 years of your life, you've never felt this particular kind of stirring, this holy restlessness? Until now, dear chosen one, what you've been sensing, what's been making your spirit restless these past few weeks? It's not your imagination, it's not anxiety, it's not old age, it's not your medication, it's recognition. Your soul, your weathered, battle-tested, God-trained soul, is sensing something approaching, something divine, something that's been moving toward you like a slow, sacred tide, for months, maybe years. You see, after 8 decades on this earth, after surviving the Great Depression, after watching the world change in ways unimaginable, after burying parents, spouses, friends, your spiritual radar has been calibrated by fire. You know the difference between ordinary worry and holy anticipation. And what you're feeling right now, this isn't worry. This is your spirit standing at attention. because something sacred is approaching your timeline. The sign is not loud. It doesn't come with trumpets or earthquakes. It's like a gentle breeze passing through your heart, so subtle that only those with trained spiritual eyes can see it. Only those who've walked with God through valleys of shadow know how to recognize his whisper in the wind. Do you feel something moving beneath the air for weeks now, maybe months? You've been sensing it, waking up with thoughts of heaven, finding yourself humming old hymns you haven't sung in decades, catching yourself staring out the window, waiting, though you couldn't say for what. Your children think it's nostalgia. Your doctor might call it restlessness. But you know better. You know because you've lived long enough, walked with God long enough, to recognize when the divine is stirring. Scripture tells us in Joel 2:28, "I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your old men will dream dreams." Not nightmares, beloved, dreams, visions, divine downloads that come in the quiet hours when the world sleeps but heaven works. This feeling you can't shake, this sense that something is coming, it's not coincidence, it's confirmation. Confirmation that after all these years, after all the prayers whispered in dark hospital rooms, after all the times you wondered if God still remembered your name, he's preparing something personal, something just for you. You may not see it with your eyes yet, but your soul has begun to tremble as it senses the divine approaching. That trembling, that holy restlessness, that's not fear, dear one. That's your spirit coming alive, like an old radio finally catching a clear signal after years of static. Think about it. Why now, why, after all these years of routine Sundays, of familiar church services, of predictable prayer times? Why is this Sunday different? Because God's timing is not random, it's redemptive. Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds us, "To everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under heaven." Your season of waiting is ending, your time of receiving is beginning. This feeling is not imaginary. It is the message you have been waiting for. The restlessness in your bones, the stirring in your chest, the way your heart quickens when you think about Sunday morning. That's not anxiety, beloved. That's anticipation, divine anticipation. You've lived through world wars. You've survived economic collapse. You've watched technology transform the planet. You've buried dreams and seen others resurrected. But this stirring in your spirit, this is different. This is God, moving the chess pieces of heaven, positioning circumstances, aligning people, preparing moments, all for one divine appointment, your appointment. And here's what the enemy doesn't want you to realize. What he's desperately trying to convince you is just your imagination. This sign that's coming, it's not coming because you've been perfect. It's coming because you've been faithful. Faithful through the depression, faithful through losses, faithful through seasons when heaven seemed silent. And now God is ready to reward that faithfulness. So when you feel that flutter in your chest, when you catch yourself holding your breath, when something deep within you whispers, pay attention. Don't dismiss it. Don't rationalize it away. That's your spirit, recognizing the approach of the divine. That's your soul, preparing for an encounter that will mark this Sunday as the day everything shifted. But here's what you need to understand, and this is crucial. This sign isn't just coming to comfort you, it's coming to commission you, because God doesn't waste divine appointments on passive recipients. He reserves them for those ready to become active participants in something bigger than themselves. You know what breaks my heart? It's not the waiting itself. It's the loneliness of the waiting. For decades, you've carried this quiet ache, this feeling that maybe, just maybe, you've been forgotten. Standing at your kitchen window at 3 a.m., watching the empty street, wondering if God still remembers your name. You've whispered prayers into the darkness, sent up silent SOS signals, like a spiritual antenna searching for the right frequency. And dear one, you are not alone in this. Right now, as you listen to these words, there's a 78-year-old widow in Des Moines, staring at the same empty chair where her husband used to sit, feeling that exact same spiritual restlessness you feel. There's an 82-year-old grandfather in Phoenix who's been praying for his prodigal son for 37 years, experiencing that same holy stirring in his chest. A 74-year-old woman in Jacksonville who lost her faith when she buried her daughter is suddenly, inexplicably, drawn back to her dusty Bible. The feeling you're having, that unexplainable pull, that sense that something sacred is approaching, it's being felt by thousands, tens of thousands, around the world. At this exact moment, your soul isn't just an antenna, beloved. You're part of a vast spiritual network, all tuning into the same divine frequency, all receiving the same heavenly download, simultaneously. You see, God has always worked this way. When he was ready to deliver Israel from Egypt, he didn't just speak to Moses, he awakened an entire generation. When Jesus was about to be born, God didn't just prepare Mary, he stirred Anna, Simeon, the shepherds, all at once. For many are called, Matthew 22:14 tells us, not one, not a few, many, and right now, in nursing homes across Nebraska, in retirement communities throughout Florida, in little apartments from Brooklyn to Seattle. God is awakening his remnant, the ones who've been faithful through the silence, the ones who've kept believing when hope felt foolish, the ones who've carried burdens no one else could see. Think about it. If this were just about you, why would you be feeling this pull so strongly right now? Why would your spirit be trembling with anticipation for this particular Sunday? Because you're not just receiving a personal sign. Dear one, you're being drafted into something larger. Here's what the enemy doesn't want you to realize. Your loneliness, it was strategy. Your isolation, it was preparation. He separated you, scattered you, made you feel forgotten because he knew what would happen when you all awakened. At the same time, when thousands of prayer warriors who've been interceding in secret for decades suddenly realize they're not alone, when countless believers who've been holding the line in their families, their communities, their churches, discover they're part of an army, when God's remnant, his faithful ones, his chosen vessels, start moving in unison, the gates of hell tremble. This Sunday isn't just about your individual breakthrough, beloved. It's about divine activation. It's about heaven's strategic deployment of its most seasoned warriors. You think it's coincidence that you're all being stirred at once, that across time zones, across denominations, across circumstances, the same holy restlessness is rising. What if God has been saving his most powerful move for his most experienced players? You've been through the Depression. You've survived wars. You've buried parents, spouses, sometimes children. You've weathered storms that would have broken younger spirits. And now when the world needs mature faith, seasoned wisdom, unshakable trust, God is calling his veterans into formation. But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation. 1 Peter 2:9, chosen, not overlooked, not forgotten, chosen. And this Sunday, the choosing becomes visible. The loneliness you've carried, it was boot camp. The silence you've endured, it was training. The waiting that nearly broke you, it was preparation for this moment. Because what's coming, it's not just for you to receive, it's for you to release. Thousands of younger believers, struggling with doubt, drowning in despair, losing faith in a chaotic world. They need to see what mature faith looks like when it's activated. They need to witness what happens when God's remnant, His seasoned saints, His faithful few, step into their prophetic authority. You are not the only one waiting for a signal, dear one. You are part of the signal. And this Sunday, when heaven moves, it's not just going to touch your life. It's going to ignite a network of seasoned believers who've been waiting, preparing, positioning for such a time as this. But here's what you need to understand about this divine timing, about why it's happening now, about why Sunday holds such sacred weight. Because what's been hidden in darkness is about to step into the light. But here's what will shake you to your core. God is calling you by name, not calling out to a crowd, not shouting into the void, not broadcasting to millions. He is calling you, your specific name, the name your mother whispered when you were born, the name written on your social security card, the name etched on your mailbox, that name. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. Your name does not float among millions of names in some cosmic lottery. It is written with divine precision on the calendar of heaven. And this Sunday, that calendar page turns. Isaiah 43:1 declares, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine." Called you by name, not by your struggles, not by your failures, not by your age or your limitations, by your name. Do you understand what this means? Do you grasp the magnitude of this moment? The God who spoke galaxies into existence, who numbered every star and called them by name, who knows when a sparrow falls, knows your name. And He's been waiting for this exact Sunday to call it out. But here's the question that should terrify you. What if this Sunday is the day you hear your name called from the spirit realm and you're too distracted to listen? What if, while you're worried about your prescription refills, your doctor's appointments, your grandchildren who never call, God Himself is trying to get your attention? What if you miss it? You see, God doesn't just call, He calls your soul. He calls the part of you that's been waiting 70, 80, 90 years for this moment. He calls the part of you that survived the Great Depression. He calls the part of you that lived through Vietnam, through the Cold War, through 9/11. He calls the part of you that buried parents, that maybe buried a spouse, that watched children grow up and move away. He calls the survivor. He calls the overcomer. He calls the faithful one. And if you hear it, if something deep in your chest quickens when I say these words, you're ready. You're ready because this calling isn't new. It's been echoing in your spirit for decades. Here's what will blow your mind. You weren't just called last week. You weren't just called last year. You were prepared before birth. Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you before you were born. I set you apart." Set you apart. Every heartbreak that could have destroyed you, but didn't. Every loss that should have broken you, but only bent you. Every season of loneliness that could have made you bitter, but made you deeper instead. It was all preparation. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Do you hear it your entire life? Every single day you've walked this earth has been boot camp for this Sunday. The reason you're still breathing at your age, the reason you're still mentally sharp enough to watch this video, the reason your heart is still beating strong enough to feel this stirring, it's because your assignment isn't finished. God has been calling your name in the wind. God has been calling your name in your restless nights. God has been calling your name in that inner knowing, that sense that there's still something more. And this Sunday, that whisper becomes a shout. That gentle nudge becomes an undeniable summons. That quiet stirring becomes a holy earthquake in your spirit. But listen to me. Listen to me. This calling comes with an expiration date. Windows of divine opportunity don't stay open forever. Ask Moses about the burning bush. Ask Mary about the angel's visit. Ask Paul about the Damascus road. They had to respond in the moment. What if this very Sunday, is your burning bush moment? What if you're supposed to take off your shoes because you're standing on holy ground? What if the reason you feel that trembling in your spirit, that quickening in your pulse, is because your name is being called from heaven's throne room right now? As I speak these words, something in you is awakening. Something that's been asleep for years, maybe decades, is stirring to life. It's your calling. It's your purpose. It's your name being called. If you feel it, if you sense it, if something deep within your 70-year-old, 80-year-old, 90-year-old spirit is saying, yes, that's me, he's calling my name, then don't you dare ignore it. Don't you dare dismiss it as emotion or wishful thinking. Write these 3 words in the comments right now. I hear my name. Don't think about it. Don't hesitate. Let your spirit respond before your mind can talk you out of it. Because if you can write those words, if you can declare them, you're ready for what's coming this Sunday. But hearing your name called, that's just the beginning. Because once God has your attention, once he knows you're listening, he's about to show you something that will change everything. Something that's been hidden, something that's been waiting, something that will make every year you've lived, every tear you've cried, every prayer you've whispered, worth it all. Your name is being called Chosen One. The question is, are you ready to answer? But understand this, Chosen One, what's approaching you this Sunday? It's not just a blessing you receive and forget. It's not some feel-good moment you post on Facebook and move on. This is covenant, sacred, binding, eternal, the kind of divine contract that changes not just your Sunday, but every Sunday for the rest of your days on this earth. You see, dear friend, for 87 years, maybe 92, you've been walking this road. Through the Great Depression when your parents counted every penny. Through World War II when your brothers didn't come home. Through decades of raising children, burying parents, watching dreams defer and hearts break. But God has been keeping records. Every tear you cried in that hospital room when the doctor said cancer. Every prayer you whispered over grandchildren who've forgotten your phone number. Every night you lay awake wondering if your life, if your faith, if any of it really mattered. It all mattered. Every single moment was being woven into this moment. Because what heaven is offering you this Sunday, it's the crimson seal on a promise that was written before the foundation of the world. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1:5. But here's what most people don't understand about divine signs. They come with responsibility. They come with weight. They come with covenant. You think Moses just received the burning bush and went home to watch the evening news. You think Abraham just heard God's voice and continued his retirement in comfort. No, the sign was the invitation, but the covenant demanded everything. And now, after all these years, after all you've endured, heaven is extending the same invitation to you. But ask yourself this, and answer honestly in the silence of your heart. Are you prepared to keep your part of the promise? Because this Sunday's sign, it's not coming to entertain you. It's not arriving to make you feel special for a moment and then fade like morning mist. This sign is a scarlet seal, pressed into the wax of your very soul, marking you as one who has entered into covenant with the Almighty. And I will establish my covenant between me and you and your descendants after you. Genesis 17:7. Do you understand what that means, chosen one? It means this Sunday, you don't just receive a sign, you become a signpost. You don't just witness a miracle, you become the testimony. You don't just get blessed, you become a blessing. But here's the part that will shock you. Not everyone who cries out for a sign receives one. Not everyone who begs for confirmation gets answered. Not everyone who claims to be chosen actually is. The Bible tells us many are called, but few are chosen. Matthew 22:14. And if you're sitting here right now, feeling your spirit leap within you, feeling something ancient and eternal stirring in your chest, like embers being blown into flame, then you, dear soul, you are among the few. But with that choosing comes covenant. With that blessing comes burden. With that sign comes sacred responsibility. This Sunday, when that sign appears, and it will appear, you cannot receive it with casual gratitude and return to life as usual. You cannot take heaven's scarlet seal and tuck it away like some pleasant memory. Because once you enter covenant with God, once you accept that crimson mark upon your soul, you are bound. Bound to speak when He whispers, bound to move when He beckons, bound to stand when others fall, bound to believe when the world doubts. And here's what terrifies the enemy about this moment. You, at 85, at 90, you carry something the young ones don't have. You carry the weight of walked-through promises. You carry the authority of survived storms. You carry the credibility of endured decades. When you speak about God's faithfulness, when you testify of His goodness, when you stand as living proof that He keeps His word, hell trembles, because they can dismiss the testimony of the young. They can question the faith of the untested. But they cannot argue with the witness of someone who has walked with God for 9 decades and still declares He is faithful. This Sunday's covenant, it's not just about your remaining years. It's about your remaining legacy. It's about what you'll leave behind when you finally step from this realm into glory. Will you leave behind grandchildren who remember a grandparent who just went to church? Or one who carried the presence of God? The sign is coming, chosen one. The scarlet seal is being prepared. But before it arrives, before heaven presses that eternal mark upon your soul, you must decide. Are you ready to enter covenant? Are you prepared to carry more than blessing, but burden? Are you willing to be more than blessed, but bound to His purposes? Because once that seal is pressed, there's no going back. And what happens after you say yes will determine not just your legacy, but the destiny of everyone whose life you'll touch with the authority of that covenant. So tell me, chosen one, when Sunday dawns and that sign appears, what will your answer be? You know what breaks my heart? 90% of God's people miss their miracle because they're looking for Hollywood. When heaven speaks in whispers, dear friend, chosen one, after 20 years of walking with saints who've seen eternity, I've learned something that will shake you to your core. The signs coming this Sunday, they won't arrive to impress you. They're coming to change you. See, we've been conditioned, programmed, to expect God to move like a blockbuster movie, thunder crashing, seas parting, burning bushes. But here's the devastating truth most believers never discover. The most life-altering encounters with the Almighty happen in the dust, in the ordinary, in moments so simple that only the awakened soul recognizes their sacred weight. Moses didn't find God in the palace. He found Him in the wilderness, tending sheep in the middle of nowhere. Elijah didn't hear the voice of God in the earthquake or the fire. He heard it in a still small voice. 1 Kings 19:12. And you, dear one, you who've lived through decades of seeking, decades of praying, decades of wondering if God still moves, your sign might come disguised as dust, What if it comes through the checkout clerk at the grocery store, who says exactly what your heart needed to hear? What if it arrives in a dream so vivid, so specific, that you wake up knowing God just downloaded your next chapter? What if it whispers through a stranger on the park bench, who speaks words that unlock 30 years of confusion? Can you recognize it if it doesn't look like what you've been expecting? Because here's what terrifies me about this generation of believers. We've become sign seekers instead of God seekers. We want the miraculous, but we've lost the ability to see the sacred in the simple. Listen to me carefully. You've been praying for breakthrough for how long? 5 years, 10, 20. And God has been answering, but you've been looking past his responses because they didn't match your expectations. Jesus said in Matthew 13:16, "Blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear." But he also warned, though seeing they do not see, though hearing they do not hear or understand. Which one are you? Are you the one who sees, or the one who looks but never recognizes? Because this Sunday, when your sign arrives, it won't sparkle like fireworks in the night sky. It will be hidden in the dust that only the awakened soul can recognize. I need you to understand something that might disturb your comfortable Christianity. The reason you felt spiritually hungry, spiritually restless, spiritually unsatisfied, is because you've been feasting on entertainment. When your soul craves encounter, you've been seeking signs. When God has been offering transformation at 70, 80, 90 years old, you don't have time for spiritual games anymore. You don't have time to miss what God is doing because it doesn't look like what the preacher described. You don't have decades left to wait for the perfect sign. This Sunday, when heaven moves, will you be ready? Not ready with your eyes, but ready with your heart. Not ready with your expectations, but ready with your surrender. Because the sign that's coming, it's not coming to validate your theology. It's coming to violate your comfort zone. It's not coming to confirm what you already know. It's coming to reveal what you've been missing. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." Be still in a world that never stops, never pauses, never breathes. God is calling you to stillness because the sign you need, the word you've been waiting for, the breakthrough that will define your final chapter, it requires a heart still enough to feel the unspoken. You don't need a clearer sign, dear one. You need a heart still enough to feel the unspoken. So let me ask you, right here, right now, are you ready to stop demanding that God speak your language and start learning to speak his? Are you ready to recognize his voice, even if it comes through the most unlikely messenger? Are you ready to receive your miracle, even if it's wrapped in ordinary paper? Because this Sunday, everything you've been praying for, everything you've been believing for, everything your heart has been crying out for, it's not coming to surprise you. It's coming to change you. And the question that will determine your destiny is this: will you recognize it when it arrives? If your heart is saying, "Yes, I'm ready to see with new eyes. I'm ready to hear with new ears. I'm ready to receive what God has for me," then write these 4 words in the comments: I am ready to recognize. Don't think about it. Let your spirit respond. Because recognition is the first step toward transformation. But dear one, being ready to recognize is only the beginning. Because what comes next will require something deeper than recognition. It will require response. But wait, there's something you need to understand. Something that could change everything, or cost you everything. What if you don't see it in time? What if this Sunday morning, while you're pouring your coffee, while you're reading the newspaper, while you're going through the same routine you've followed for decades, the sign appears, and you miss it. Dear friend, chosen one, I need you to hear this with your whole heart. In the spiritual realm, procrastination isn't just stopping, it's passing by. And there are moments, divine moments, when if you don't enter, the door closes without warning, forever. Think about it. How many times in Scripture did God provide a window, a specific window, and when it closed, it was gone? Noah had exactly 7 days to gather the animals. 7 days. Then the rains came, and the window closed. The children of Israel had one night, one single night, to apply the blood to their doorposts. Miss that night, and the angel of death would not pass over. Lot's wife had one instruction: don't look back. One moment of hesitation, one glance over her shoulder, and she became a pillar of salt. These weren't suggestions. They were divine appointments with eternal consequences. And this Sunday, you have yours. Jesus himself warned us, "Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour." Matthew 25:13. He wasn't talking about some distant future. He was talking about moments like this, divine intersections where heaven touches earth, and your response, your recognition, your spiritual alertness determines everything. The sign coming for you this Sunday. It's like the last night train pulling into Grand Central Station. If you're not on the platform, if you're not watching, if you're not ready, it doesn't come back. Not next week, not next month, maybe not in this lifetime. I've watched it happen, dear one. I've seen precious souls just like you, who felt the stirring, who sensed something was coming, but they got distracted. They thought, I'll pay attention next Sunday. They thought, if it's really from God, it'll happen again. They thought they had time. But divine timing doesn't wait for our convenience. The woman with the issue of blood, she had one chance to touch the hem of Jesus' garment. One moment in a pressing crowd. If she had hesitated, if she had said, maybe tomorrow, the moment would have passed. 12 years of suffering, healed in an instant, because she recognized her moment and seized it. What if you're living in your 12th year of waiting? What if this Sunday, this very Sunday, is your moment to touch the hem of heaven? What if the miracle you've prayed for, the breakthrough you've cried for, the sign you've begged for, is wrapped in this ordinary Sunday morning, and all you have to do is see it? But here's what terrifies me. What if you sleep through it? What if you're so used to disappointment, so conditioned to expect nothing, that when everything finally arrives, you miss it because you're not looking up? In Luke 19:44, Jesus wept over Jerusalem and said, "You did not recognize the time of your visitation." They missed their moment, their divine appointment. Their Messiah was standing right in front of them, and they were too busy, too distracted, too spiritually dull to see. Don't let that be you. Don't let this be the Sunday you look back on with regret. You've waited long enough, haven't you? Through silent Christmases where your prayers felt hollow, through lonely birthdays where you wondered if God remembered you existed, through doctor visits where you needed a miracle and got medical jargon instead, through funerals where you buried dreams along with loved ones. Dear one, precious chosen one, you've earned this moment. Your faithfulness through the darkness has earned this light. Your persistence through the silence has earned this voice from heaven. Your refusal to quit when everything screamed "give up" has earned this divine visitation. But earning it and receiving it are two different things. The sign will come. That's already been decided in heaven's courts. But will you be still enough, aware enough, spiritually sensitive enough to catch it? This isn't about emotion. This isn't about hype. This is about eternal timing colliding with earthly readiness. This is about 70, 80, 90 years of life experience finally converging with God's perfect moment. if you feel time rushing, if you sense the spiritual clock ticking, if something deep in your spirit is saying, "This is it, this is my moment," then write these 4 words in the comments right now: "I will not miss it." Don't think about it. Don't wait until the end of the video. Do it now. Let heaven hear your declaration. Let your spirit align with this moment, because in just a few days, this Sunday will arrive. And when it does, will you be ready? Will you be watching? Will you be still enough to hear the whisper that changes everything? Or will you let it pass by, like so many others, and spend the rest of your days wondering, what if? But here's what I believe about you, chosen one. Here's why I know you won't miss it. But wait, dear friend, before we step forward into what's coming this Sunday, there's something we need to address. Something that might be stirring in the depths of your memory right now, like an old photograph suddenly catching the light. Have you seen this sign before, but didn't recognize it? Think back with me through the corridors of your 70, 80, maybe 90 years on this earth. Remember those moments, those strange, sacred moments when you felt something brush against your soul like a gentle hand on your shoulder, but you turned away, convinced it was just your imagination, just wishful thinking, just an old heart hoping for more than this world could offer. Do you remember that Sunday morning in 1987, when you sat in your favorite pew, 3rd row from the back, and suddenly felt surrounded by a presence so thick, so real, that the hair on your arms stood up, but you dismissed it as the air conditioning, or nerves, or too much coffee before service? Or that quiet evening in 2003, when you were walking through your garden, the one you planted after Harold passed, and you felt so strongly that someone was walking beside you, someone invisible but undeniably there, and for just a moment, just one sacred moment, you almost turned to speak. But fear stopped you, fear of looking foolish, fear of being wrong. The sign is like lightning between 2 rainstorms, beloved. If you don't look up at precisely the right moment, you'll miss it, and wonder for years if what you almost saw was real. But here's what breaks my heart, what should break yours too. You've been given these moments before, these divine interruptions, these holy visitations, and each time, each precious time, you've explained them away. It was just the wind. It was just my grief talking. It was just my old mind playing tricks. But the Spirit of the living God, the same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead, that same Spirit doesn't play tricks, dear one. He whispers truth, he breathes life, he reaches across the veil between heaven and earth, specifically, intentionally, lovingly, to touch your life. In 1 Kings 19:12, when Elijah was hiding in that cave, broken, defeated, convinced God had forgotten him, the word tells us, "And after the earthquake, a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire, and after the fire, a still small voice." A still small voice. Not thunder, not earthquake, not fire, a whisper. The same whisper you've been hearing and ignoring for decades. How many times, how many precious times has that still small voice called your name, and you've covered your ears with busyness, with doubt, with the noise of a world that taught you to trust only what you can see, touch, prove in a laboratory. But you're different now, aren't you? You're in the autumn of your life, maybe the winter, and suddenly, the things that once seemed so important, the career, the mortgage, the opinions of neighbors, they've faded like morning mist. And you're left with the one question that matters: God, are you really there, and do you see me, dear friend, precious soul? If you missed it once, twice, a dozen times, is this Sunday your chance to make it right? Because here's what I need you to understand. With every fiber of my being, with every ounce of pastoral authority God has given me after 5 decades of ministry, this could very well be your final invitation. Not because God stops loving you, never that, but because, as Hebrews 3:15 warns us, today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. Today, not tomorrow, not next month, not when you feel more spiritual, more worthy, more prepared. Today. You see, there are seasons in the Spirit, divine windows that open and close, windows of grace, windows of opportunity, windows where heaven bends low enough for earth to touch. And these windows, they don't stay open forever. Noah had a window, 7 days to enter the ark before the floods came. The wise virgins had a window, until the bridegroom arrived and the door was shut. The thief on the cross had a window, between 2 heartbeats, between life and death, between mockery and surrender. What if this Sunday is your window? What if all those other times, all those whispers you ignored, all those signs you explained away, what if they were preparation for this moment, this final call, this last invitation to step into everything God has been trying to give you for 8, 9, 10 decades? It's not the first time he's called your name beloved, but it very well could be, the last. The Spirit is not in the business of begging. He woos, he whispers, he invites, but he doesn't chase those who run from his voice forever. And you who have lived through the Great Depression, through World War II, through the loss of parents, spouses, friends, children, you know better than most that some opportunities, once they pass, never come again. But this Sunday, the window opens wide, the invitation extends one more time. The still small voice prepares to speak your name, not in anger, not in condemnation, but in love so deep, so personal, so specifically designed for your heart that you'll wonder how you ever doubted it was real. The question that will determine your eternity, your peace, your purpose in whatever years remain is simply this: will you finally stop explaining away the miraculous and start expecting it? Because ready or not, prepared or not, worthy or not, this Sunday, he's coming for you. But wait, chosen one. Before that sacred sign arrives this Sunday, there's something critical you must understand. The sign isn't hiding from you. Your heart is too noisy to recognize it. Listen to me carefully. In your 80, 90 years on this earth, how many divine moments have you missed? Not because God wasn't speaking, but because your mind was drowning in the static of worry. How many times has heaven whispered your name while you were distracted by the evening news, the doctor's report, the bills on your kitchen table? Jesus himself said in Matthew 11:15, "Whoever has ears to hear, let them hear." Not whoever has perfect hearing, whoever has prepared ears. Your soul, dear one, your soul is a window. And right now, after decades of disappointment, after seasons of silence, after prayers that seem to bounce off the ceiling, that window is covered in dust, thick dust, the dust of doubt, the grime of grief, the fog of God has forgotten me. And if that dust is too thick, when the light comes, when your sign arrives this Sunday, it won't penetrate. It'll hit the glass, and you'll miss it completely. What if the sign has already been trying to reach you? What if God has been knocking, but the noise in your mind, the television, the phone calls, the endless replaying of old hurts, what if it's been drowning out his voice? You can't see the sky if you're looking down at your phone, and you can't hear God if your mind is full of noise. So here's what you must do. Right now, today, before Sunday arrives. Step 1, clear the clutter, not just from your living room, but from your mind. Turn off that television that's been feeding you fear for 40 years. Put down that phone that's become your security blanket. Silence, biblical silence, isn't empty space. It's sacred space. Psalm 46:10 commands us, "Be still and know that I am God." Be still, not busy, not distracted, still. Step 2, cleanse your heart. That bitterness you've been nursing since 1987, that grudge against your brother, your neighbor, that politician, it's not protecting you, it's poisoning you. It's creating static between you and heaven. Jesus was crystal clear in Mark 11:25. When you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive them. You want to see your sign? Forgive. Now, today. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to hear God clearly. Step 3, create silence. Real silence. Not the kind where your mouth is quiet, but your mind is screaming. The kind where your soul becomes so still, so expectant, that you can hear a pin drop in heaven. Because here's the shocking truth they don't teach you in Sunday school. God isn't going to shout over your noise. He's not going to compete with your television, your anxiety, your mental chatter. He whispers. He always whispers. And if you're not quiet enough, still enough, prepared enough, you'll miss the most important message of your lifetime. Elijah learned this the hard way. In 1 Kings 19, he looked for God in the earthquake, in the fire, in the mighty wind. But God wasn't there. God was in the gentle whisper. The gentle whisper. Dear one, you've waited 8 decades for this moment. Don't miss it because you couldn't turn off the noise for 5 minutes. This Sunday, when that sign appears, it might come in the form of an unexpected phone call, a stranger's kindness, a sudden peace that makes no sense, a memory that brings healing, a scripture that jumps off the page like it was written just for you. But if your heart is cluttered, if your mind is chaotic, if your spirit is agitated, you'll dismiss it as coincidence. And here's what terrifies me. What keeps me awake at night? What if this is your last chance? What if God has been preparing this sign for months, years, and this Sunday is the appointed time, and you miss it because you couldn't be bothered to prepare your heart? What if the very thing you've been praying for, the answer you've been desperate for, the breakthrough you've been believing for, arrives exactly on schedule, but finds you unprepared? I won't let that happen, not on my watch. So right now, before you do anything else, I need you to make a choice. Are you going to spend the next 3 days preparing your heart? Or are you going to let this Sunday pass like every other Sunday, cluttered, distracted, spiritually unprepared? If you're ready, if you're truly ready to clear your heart, to silence the noise, to prepare your soul for what's coming, write these 4 words in the comments: I'm clearing my heart. Don't hesitate. Don't overthink it. Let your spirit respond before your mind can interfere. Because, chosen one, time is running out, and the sign is almost here. But clearing your heart is only the beginning, because when that sign arrives, when heaven breaks through, you'll need to know how to recognize it. And that requires something most people have forgotten: the ancient art of spiritual discernment. But you know what? You're not the first chosen one to feel this stirring. 3 months ago, in a small town outside of Tulsa, Oklahoma, an 82-year-old woman named Margaret sat in her kitchen, staring at bills she couldn't pay, her late husband's medical debt still haunting her mailbox, Social Security barely covering rent. And that Sunday morning, she whispered a prayer so desperate, so raw, that heaven itself leaned in to listen. That very Sunday, her phone rang. A lawyer, her husband's old company, had found an unclaimed pension worth $47,000, money she never knew existed, money that arrived on the exact Sunday she needed it most. Margaret didn't chase that miracle. The miracle chased her. Or take Samuel, a 78-year-old widower from Des Moines who hadn't spoken to his son in 15 years. 15 years of silence, 15 years of pride standing like a wall between father and child. That Sunday, the same Sunday he felt that inexplicable pull to forgive. His doorbell rang. His son, standing there with tears in his eyes, saying the exact words Samuel had been praying to hear, "Dad, I'm sorry, I need you." Same day, same divine timing, same mysterious sign. And here's what breaks my heart and fills me with hope at the same time. These people, Margaret, Samuel, they're not special because they're better than you. They're not more righteous. They're not more deserving. They're special because they recognized the moment. They felt the stirring, just like you're feeling right now. And instead of dismissing it, instead of saying that's just coincidence, they leaned in, they listened. See, the Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes 3:1, "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven." Your season, your time, your purpose. It's not random, it's orchestrated. But here's what terrifies me for some of you. How many signs have you missed? How many divine appointments have you walked past because they didn't look like what you expected? How many times has God whispered your name and you thought it was just the wind? Jesus said in Matthew 13:16, "Blessed are your eyes because they see and your ears because they hear." But what if your eyes have been trained to see lack instead of abundance? What if your ears have been tuned to doubt instead of divine whispers? What if, for 70, 80, 90 years, you've been looking for God in the storm, when He's been speaking in the stillness? I need you to understand something that could change everything. The sign isn't coming because you've suffered enough. The sign is coming because you're finally ready to receive it. Every heartbreak, every loss, every night you've lain awake wondering if God remembers your name. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Margaret's sign came as a phone call. Samuel's came as a doorbell. But yours might come as a sudden peace washing over you during Sunday service. A scripture jumping off the page like it was written just for you. A stranger saying exactly what your soul needed to hear. Or maybe it's simpler than that. Maybe the sign is the very fact that you're still here, still believing, still hoping after everything you've endured. Listen to me, chosen one. In a world where people half your age have given up on miracles, you're still watching this video. You're still believing. You're still saying, "God, if you're there, if you see me, show me." That faith, that stubborn, beautiful, unshakable faith, that is the sign. But here's what I need you to understand, what I need you to feel in your very bones. Miracles don't just happen to other people. They don't just visit the lucky ones, the connected ones, the ones who seem to have it all figured out. Miracles, real life-changing, heaven-touching earth miracles, they happen to people exactly like you, people who've been forgotten by the world, but never by God, people who've been counted out by society, but counted precious by heaven, people who've been written off as too old, when God is saying, perfectly timed. Margaret wasn't more worthy than you. Samuel wasn't more deserving than you. They just said yes when the moment came, and that moment, your moment, it's not coming someday. It's coming this Sunday. So I'm asking you, right here, right now, before another second passes, are you ready to be the next miracle story? Are you ready to be the one whose testimony makes someone else believe again? Are you ready to stop being the one who hears about miracles and start being the one who lives them? if something in your spirit just said yes, if you believe, truly believe, that a miracle is heading your way this Sunday, then write these 4 words in the comments: I believe in miracles. Don't think about it. Don't hesitate. Let your faith speak before your doubt can interfere. Because, chosen one, the sign isn't just coming for you. You, with your weathered hands and wise heart, you're about to become the sign that someone else desperately needs to see. But before that miracle arrives, there's something you need to know about this Sunday. Something that could determine whether you recognize it or miss it completely. Now, listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you will challenge everything you think you know about how God speaks. For 70 years, maybe 80, you've been looking for signs with your eyes, searching the horizon for burning bushes, waiting for handwriting on the wall, expecting God to show up like he did in the movies. But here's the shocking truth that most believers never discover. The loudest signs come in the quietest moments. This Sunday, God isn't planning a spectacular display. He's not sending angels with trumpets. He's not parting any seas. He's doing something far more intimate, far more personal. He's whispering directly to your soul. You see, dear one, after decades of life, after burying friends, after watching dreams change, after learning that most promises made by people break, your spirit has developed something precious, the ability to hear what others cannot. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Be still, not busy, not searching, still. Think about it. When was the last time you sat in complete silence? When was the last time you stopped the television, stopped the radio, stopped the endless noise of a world that's forgotten how to listen? I'll tell you what's happened. We've become a generation addicted to noise. We've confused volume with importance. We've mistaken chaos for life. But God operates in frequencies most people can't even access anymore. Here's what breaks my heart and what should terrify you. Right now, at this very moment, thousands of people your age are sitting in nursing homes, in empty houses, in hospital beds, crying out to God, "Where are you? Why can't I hear you anymore?" And all the while, he's been whispering, constantly, tenderly, personally, but they're listening with their ears, when they should be listening with their souls. This Sunday, I'm asking you to do something radical, something that might feel uncomfortable at first. I'm asking you to stop searching and start listening. Signs are like bells in the mist. You can't run after them. You can't chase them down. You have to stop, be still, and let the sound find you. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. Your soul is a sheep that knows its shepherd's voice, but it can only hear in silence. Now here's what's going to happen this Sunday, and I need you to prepare for this. The world around you is going to get louder. The enemy knows that God is about to speak, so he's going to turn up the volume on everything else. Your phone will ring more. Your worries will feel heavier. Your mind will race faster, but that's exactly when you need to go deeper into silence. I want you to picture this. It's Sunday morning. Maybe you're in your favorite chair. Maybe you're in your garden. Maybe you're sitting by that window where the morning light comes in just right. And instead of turning on the news, instead of checking your phone, instead of filling the space with familiar noise, you sit, you breathe, you wait. And in that silence, something shifts. Not around you, within you. Your spirit, which has been shouting to get your attention for months, maybe years, finally has space to speak. And when it does, you'll wonder how you ever missed it. In quietness and trust shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. The quietest moment is when you hear most clearly. But here's what I need you to understand. And this is crucial. This isn't about meditation techniques. This isn't about Eastern philosophy. This isn't about emptying your mind. This is about communion. This is about a father who has been waiting for his child to stop talking long enough to hear him say, "I love you, I see you, I haven't forgotten you, and what I'm about to do in your life will make up for every silent season you've endured." If you say nothing, can you hear? If you demand nothing, can you receive? If you expect nothing spectacular, can you recognize everything sacred? This Sunday, your sign isn't coming through language. It's not coming through echoes of what you've heard before. The signal comes through silence, and your soul, your beautiful, weathered, wise soul, is being called to the center of that silence, not to emptiness, to fullness, not to absence, to presence, not to void, to voice. But here's what I haven't told you yet, and this changes everything. The silence you're about to enter, it's not empty space you're walking into. Someone is already there, waiting. My dear friend, my precious chosen one, as we come to the close of this sacred moment together, I want you to remember 3 things that could change everything about how you approach this Sunday. First, the sign you're waiting for isn't coming in thunder. It's coming in whispers, in the space between your heartbeats, in the silence you've been afraid to enter. Second, every delay in your life, every unanswered prayer, every season that felt forgotten, it was all preparation for this moment. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was punishment. Everything was positioning. And third, you are not walking into this Sunday alone. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who raised the dead, who turned water into wine, He's the one whispering your name right now. You are not forgotten. You are not too old. You are not past your season. At 70, 80, 90 years old, you are still God's masterpiece in progress, still His chosen vessel, still carrying purpose that the world desperately needs. And there's something beautiful happening right now. Even as you listen to these words, thousands of others just like you are leaning in, hearts pounding, spirits stirring, realizing they're part of something bigger than their circumstances. You are not alone in this, not in your waiting, not in your wondering, not in your hoping. So let me ask you this, and I want you to really think about it. What if this Sunday, what if this very conversation, what if this moment right here is the sign you've been praying for? Let's pray together. Father God, I'm placing my hand on the shoulder of every precious soul listening to these words. Right now, in this moment, Lord, you know their names. You know their stories. You know the tears they've cried in secret, the hopes they've carried in silence, the dreams they thought they had to surrender. But today, this Sunday, we declare that you are not finished with them, that their best chapters are still being written, that their most powerful prayers are about to be answered. God, open their spiritual ears to hear you clearly. Calm their anxious hearts so they can receive what you're offering. Give them the courage to sit in silence, to trust in the stillness, to believe that you are moving even when they cannot see. Place your peace over their minds, your strength in their bodies, your hope in their hearts. And Lord, let this Sunday be the day they remember forever, the day the silence spoke, the day the sign came, the day everything changed. In Jesus' precious name, amen. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey, for opening your heart, for believing that God still has more for you. If this message stirred something in your soul, if you felt that familiar tingle of recognition, I want you to write in the comments, "I'm ready to listen." Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Your